What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Square of the Circle music channel. It's me, your pal, your host, Aaron Major. That's right. I'm that guy that lives over here in Western Oregon that likes to chit-chat with you about record collecting and music appreciation, all that fun garbage. So, while I got you here and the coffee's hot, let's talk about some of them things that I like to show you guys every now and again, those little bits and pieces, those gems and nuggets of gold that I find around town here in the valley, in the Willamette Valley, to be quite specific. I'm talking about the junk stores and the thrift stores and all those places. And you can go and you can find some pretty great stuff sometimes for fairly cheap. And so I like to do this episode. This is like installment number 16, I think. I had once thought about maybe retiring this episode, but it's too much fun. And like I said, you know, these days you can find sometimes cheaper records at local record stores, providers, as opposed to these for-profit, don't let anybody fool you. Your St. Vincent de Paul's and your Goodwill stores and whatevers are for-profit retailers. So I'm back to just like giving every cent I make pretty much to the local record stores. But, you know, here and there, I'll go hit the thrifties and buying a lot of other stuff these days too, not just vinyl records, but let's, you know, all the hemming and hawing I like to do, the ridiculously stale, boring ovations that I like to get into here. Let's just, let's see the goods, Mage. So he says. First, I'm going to show you my compact discs. I found a wonderful pile of CDs. Generally, these are all still for $1. Most thrift stores here in Oregon. I don't know where you guys live and what's going on, but most of the time they're only $2. Sometimes they're still $1. Totally worth it, because if you are good at hunting, you can find mint items. First on the list here, I don't have a ton. I've talked about this a lot. I don't have a ton of like classic R&B, funk, and soul music in my collection. My collection's primarily rock and roll, white boy music, and so I need to get more familiarized with some, you know, music with soul. And who better than to be my instructor as Mr. Brown, Mr. James Brown, 60, early 60s, probably 62 or something like that. I don't know, but it's his very famous show at the Apollo Theater. He looks really young there. It's got to be in the early 60s. So I'm really excited for this, to crack this open and really get familiarized with some James Brown. I mean, I know my fair share of his popular, very popular shit, but I mean, especially when he was young, he was just an incredible performer. We all know that. So I've seen more of his kind of like crazy, almost kind of burnt out phase of like the late 70s and stuff. Like I remember seeing that a lot growing up, but that'll be a fun listen. Some more sweet jams that I can't believe people are donating these albums. And again, they're incredibly clean. This is the second one I have found in as many weeks. Medeski, Martin, and Wood album. Again, what's this one called? Shack Man. Yeah, Shack Man. Like Shaq, I live in a dilapidated shack, not SHAQ, the gargantuan-sized basketball player. These guys, Medeski, Martin, and Wood, if anyone's not familiar, just super sick jazz trio, but more kind of like a trip-hop jazz trio, fusion rock band from the 90s. This was like 1996, I think. Yeah, 1996, so super stoked about this. For $1. Some more cool, like kind of, I actually put this in my phone because it looked intriguing. I put it into my phone real fast, listened to something on like Discogs or whatever, and I was like, yeah, some more kind of like trip hop, fusion, jazz, electro, ambient synth stuff, but it looks very Euro. And so I was like, fuck yeah. I don't actually know where these guys are from, but they're called Tosca. Tosca? I think it's pronounced probably Tosca. Album's called No Hassle, and I'm excited to deep dive into it. It's just some pretty sweet groove tubes. Yeah, groove tunes. Great for driving. I did put it in and listen to it while I was driving on the way home. I bought a copy of this because I haven't had a clean copy of it on CD so I can listen to it in my car again. To it in my car. I mean, sorry, I had a fly go right up my nostril. Muse's album, The Origin of Symmetry. I have it on LP, but it's nice having a digital copy that I can, slip in the old cruiser and buzz around town and bang my head to some fucking symphonic punk rock craziness. I love Muse. Origin of Symmetry, 2001, right? I'm pretty sure that's my favorite album of Muse's. Pretty good stuff. A name that I should be more familiar with, and I'm really not. I often call myself kind of a metalhead, sort of. And I guess these guys are kind of like pioneers of kind of like crossover. More, I mean, I guess more kind of still metal, I guess, but aren't they kind of alt metal kind of pioneers of like desert rock and shit, like stoner rock? I don't know. I need to check out Voivod more. I found this for $1. I was like, fuck yeah. It's like a early 90s. They were like an alt rock kind of fusion metal band, right? Or something. Really fucking cool. Fold out. Maybe I'm wrong. About them stylistically. I don't know. Really, really excited to deep dive into some Voivod. The album's called Angel Rat. 1991, I think it said. Super cool. More of kind of like gems from ancient past for me. This is like, another one of those things that like brings up old relationships with girls. That Billy Bragg album with Wilco, I've had this so many times. Usually just actually like, burnt copies from a friend or a girlfriend or whatever. This is the first hard copy I've owned for quite some time. I used to have it on vinyl and I sold it at a record show years ago. But I love this to death. Woody Guthrie tribute cover album that he did with Wilco, the band Wilco. I'm not a big fan of Wilco. I know I should be, but I'm not. So whatever. That is what that is. But this album's pretty dope. So I love taking long strolls down memory lane. This one's going to be a good one. 15 tracks. Yeah. Great album. On a bed of California stars. Oh, man. All right. Well, I don't know why I bought this. I am going to listen to it, and I'm sure it's absolutely fantastic. So I'll try to keep this story short, but have any of you guys ever listened to Justin King? Justin King is a virtuoso pop, folk, indie artist. I don't know. He's from Eugene. He's from here. He's from Eugene, Oregon, and he grew up here. His family owns a wine estate out here in the Willamette Valley, like one of the biggest winemakers in the Pacific Northwest. And he's, like I said, a guitar virtuoso, a fantastic singer, songwriter, guitar player extraordinary, like I said, whatever. He's fucking fantastic. And I didn't know he made this album. I've seen other albums by him. This was right around the time, like 2005. I auditioned for his band. And I had a really fantastic weekend, actually. It was really magnificent. Obviously, I didn't get the gig, but really amazing. He took me up to his property on Blackberry Hill, up there on the estate, the winery estate. And he's got like a recording studio in there, and we just jammed around on a couple of his tracks that he was like drumming up, I think, for this album. I was in a horrible, point in my life. I was just a complete bum. I was just an alcoholic moron, just kind of like couch surfing. Didn't know what I was doing, going from like cooking job to waiting job to whatever. I had a homie that was like, he thinks the world of me, and I love him dearly. He's a great old friend. Thank you, Sam Fittipaldi. You're the man. Anyway, he thinks of me. He calls me up. Mage, what are you doing? Audition for this band. These guys are fucking great. Justin King's great. And so I did. He is a fantastic musician. I can't wait to listen to this album in depth, because I very well, maybe in the cards, in a different dimension, an alternate universe, I might have been the drummer for this band. Justin King and the Apologies, is that what he calls himself these days? I don't know, whatever. If you're out there, Justin King, you're great, man. Love you, buddy. Thanks for the fantastic weekend, and thanks for allowing me to audition for your band. So I'll get a kick out of that. All right, I'll move it on down the line, guys. I know I'm getting a little bit gabby. It's fun for me. So them's all my CDs. I found some neat shit. I also, if I ever find some neat ephemera or any type of like nostalgia, collectibles, whatever, lots of people show these kind of things. I get VHS cassettes, so fuck you guys. If you're gonna be haters, go watch a different channel. I'm gonna show off some cool VHS I find. Only a couple of them. One, I'm a junkie for this shit, just like a lot of other, Generation Xers are. I love dearly and adore every autumn. I put it on and watch the entire series, usually like in a weekend, when I'm just feeling like kind of, toasty and I just want to have a good old time. I put on the Twin Peaks series and I watch Twin Peaks. And I've actually never had this one on VHS. I know that the extended, DVD box collection that I got has this on it somewhere, I'm sure. But now I have like that original VHS release in like 1991, I think, the pilot episode that David Lynch and Mark Frost drummed up this amazing story and gave it to the world, and how fantastic. And David Lynch has a cameo in this. Well, he's in the series too, but I mean, he has lots of time on camera in this, and cameo from like Chris Isaac and like all kinds of great shit. Yeah, Laura. Oh, such a great fucking show. This one was cool too. This also gives me like some autumn, Halloween's coming. I love this time of year. I love fall time. It is my favorite season. And I remember seeing this when I was a kid, and everyone made a big deal about it, and I thought it was fucking really cool. But this was right at the time when the internet was kind of entering rich kids' houses. And as soon as rich kids, or kids that were smart and knew how to make it affordable, and they knew how to navigate this new thing that we had called the internet. This is like 1995, something somewhere in there, 1995, 1996. This movie came out and everyone was like, this is kind of like the birth of like spoilers, basically, because everyone was like, no, man, that shit's fake. Wherein the rest of us, kids, basically, we were just kids, we're totally, absorbed and immersed in this like Blair Witch thing. Is it real? It was great. This scared the pants off of me. It scared the shit out of me. I loved it. So yeah, I'll get to relive this. I'm curious now, when was this released? Oh my God, 99. So I was much older than I thought I was. I thought this was released when I was in high school. So anyway, in 1999, this was a big deal. So I liked it. What else did I get? Yeah, a piece of my past that I'm hoping to pass down to my children. I hope my children will like this, because they like retro shit and they like video games, and I'm sure the allure of, the desire to just hit the road, as a 10-year-old with nothing but a skateboard and a peanut butter sandwich, and you're just gonna fucking hit the road, Jack Kerouac style. Mom, I'm out of here. You won't let me play Mario Brothers 2 all day long like I want to? Fuck you, Mom. Oh, man, that's not really the way I felt. But this movie brought out some, inspirado in a little guy like me. So I'm sure my kids will dig it. Fred Savage, dude, and his weird little autistic brother who's super good at video games. I'm just kidding. He was traumatized because he lost his mother, right? Didn't his mother die in a horrific car crash? Yeah, poor kid, traumatized. Made him really, really great at video games. Cool fucking shit. This is another really important classic for me. I don't know, call me funny. It's the cult classic, The Crow. Of course, epic fucking amazing soundtrack. One of the greatest rock and roll soundtracks ever devised. IMO. But this movie's dope. I loved every bit of it. This was like, this came out in high school for me, for sure, because I had like, my first girlfriend was like this really cool goth chick, and we'd like smoke cigarettes in her parents' house, and like put towels beneath the crack in the door and like watch The Crow and fucking, listen to The Cure and fucking get sad and shit. It was rad. I love this movie. It brings back great memories, so I'll have fun with that. That's on my tapes, guys. So yeah, you came here to look at my vinyl, didn't you? I'll show you all the cool 12-inch records that I bought, because I don't buy anything but 12-inch long play records. I think you guys have probably noticed that about me by now. I have maybe like a pinch of singles back there, like, my old friend's punk band and stuff like that, and I have like a bunch of tapes and CDs, but I don't collect 7-inch records and I don't collect 10-inch records. I think they look stupid on the shelves. I like to have these big pieces of 12-inch art to like admire and flip through, and I like to be able to put a piece of music on the player and sit a spell and really get immersed in it. And it's the immersion, the ritualistic factor that I enjoy so much about record collecting. So I'll move on from there. First grab I got, I found a great chunk, a really great chunk, and I like interspersed it throughout my little presentation here. So let me get into it. Sorry, long-winded horse shit. I've heard a lot about this band. Found a magnificent copy of it. Everyone speaks really highly of this band and talks about them as being a really underrated band. That British blues, kind of psych rock, blues rock band called 10 Years After. I've never listened to them. Never listened to 10 Years After, don't know anything about them, so really excited to get immersed in 1969's album, We're Watching You. Yeah, I'm sure it's great. Beautifully clean copy, that Durham label that we all know and love so well. Excited about that. I always come across copies of this now. I don't know, maybe it's just in the cards for me, because this happens to be one of my, favorite albums of all time. I hold it in really high esteem. I've talked about it like time after time after time. I find copies of it now all the time. It's really wildly popular right now, as it should be. Days of Future Past, 1967, The Moody Blues. Now I have like 3 or maybe even 4 copies of it. No, I gave one to my little sister. So now my sister Miriam, she has a copy of a very important album. And I'm sure I'll come across somebody in my life, I hope soon, that will come to me and be like, oh, I love that album. And I'll be like, hey, guess what? I have 3 copies. Here's one for you. So, yeah, great clean copy of that. More early kind of like psych, folk, pop, baroque, whatever you want to fucking call this stuff. Really early 70s, right? Or no, late 60s, 1968 by the Bee Gees. Idea. I love this iconic cover. Found a really wonderful, not the first time I've had this, but now I'm going to really like pay attention. I'm going to put it on. It's a really clean copy, so I can really enjoy it without any kind of like, interference. Yeah, and really get familiarized with this album, which obviously deserves a lot of attention. Really cool old Atco, probably plum and orange. Yep. Love it. Cool shit. Kansas is great. Kansas is good. I thought this was a later career Kansas. Well, when I say later career Kansas, I mean like late 70s Kansas into the 80s. I'm not sure what they were doing in the early 80s, but I'm sure they were still making albums. This, actually, I was mistaken, is more like middle 70s. The Mask album from Kansas. I just love the really, again, iconic art. I'm just buying handfuls of records that I've never listened to. I've been doing it instinctively now for months. For one reason, because it's really fun to show you guys on this silly little YouTube channel that I have. And secondly, I'm educating myself. And I get triple whammied, because it feels good on all my tickle parts. The art is another thing that I love so much. So I will just dump $3-4 now a piece on these like clean albums if it has, astounding artistic presentation to it. So I get to enjoy so many things about this little hobby of mine. Another iconic art piece, iconic members, obviously. I see this all the time. I've never really listened to it a ton, but yeah, Wings and their, hugely popular Venus and Mars. Again, like I said, I just love that stark, iconic art on this I love this insert. It's one of my favorite. It had to have won some sort of like package of the year Grammy or something. Were they doing the Grammys at this point in time? Middle 70s? I don't know. They had to have been. But yeah, fantastic artistic expression. I've listened to a little bit of the album. I'm somewhat familiar with it, but yeah, just not my era, just smack dab way out of my era. Not too distant, like as far as distance and years wise, whatever. This was the type of music that was going on just like in that hop, skipping over a generation kind of thing, So there's just tons of this stuff from the mid 60s to the mid 70s, that whole decade, that I've just been wholly unaware of my entire life. coming across this stuff and just discovering it totally new to me is just been an absolute dream. It's been an absolute a wonderful dream for me, like collecting records for the last 15 years. It's been fantastic. So last in that kind of chunk of like really killer kind of classic rock and, you know, psychedelia and all kinds of great stuff. More of that iconic, stark artwork that I appreciate about these 12-inch LPs. But this album I've never listened to. I love Emerson, Lake and Palmer for their early career. I love their first that they gave us, and the follow-up, Tarkus. Those are the two albums that I own, and that's kind of where it ended for me. Yes, Brain Salad Surgery and all those other albums are pretty fantastic. I think I have a few of, I think I have Trilogy floating around somewhere. But this one, this one gets bagged on a lot. Because they got a new drummer, Powell, whatever his name is. But yeah, Emerson, Lake and Powell is like 1980 something or other, 83 maybe? Oh, much later, 86 I think it says. I don't know, I think the art is really cool. I like the, you know, the sticker, the hype sticker or whatever you would call that, promo sticker. So yeah, I'm gonna give it a shot. Guys, I always pick up chunks of classical music these days because my, you know, tastes and sensibilities have metamorphosized quite a bit in the last decade. It's been fun to kind of turn to a different side. I've always appreciated, you know, symphonic orchestrated music as a whole. I've played in bands my whole life, but now I'm just really getting off on like the overall package presentation. The wax, even when you find it used, is always just like glistening and shimmering, the luster. It's just like, it's never been touched. It's never been played. No one has ever cared about this music. And you can always find these really, if you know how to weed through the bullshit, you know, you can find some really magnificent masterpieces. Berlioz, I don't know anything about Berlioz, but the Requiem by him. And just, I mean, look at this. This was like a donation from a library, or to a library. You know, the library donated their old LPs to the junk store, and I picked it up, and it's just like, it's been so much fun just to look at, and then, you know, put it on and enjoy the music while you're just kind of like letting your mind just get completely lost in all that. And unfortunate kind of, you know, the checkout envelope adhesive thing is there. I'll probably take a sponge to that and try to rub that off. But it's a beautiful, beautiful piece. I've already put that on it. It sounds magnificent. I think I've spun all of these already. I bought like a bundle of 5 of them. And I've already spun them all, and they all just sound like fucking magnificent. This Haydn collection. It's not a collection, it's just 2 pieces. The Clock and Symphony 101 and 104 by Haydn. And again, some more of that really just gorgeous, stark, kind of black and white. Well, here comes Blue. Blue wants to hang out with us. What's up, old Blue? Anyway, we're talking about Haydn, man. Is that cool? You got anything to say? No? All right. Yeah, I love this stuff. On a really cool label I've never heard about, Checkmate. You ever heard Checkmate, Blue? No? All right. Yeah, the inner gatefold has this beautiful piece of artwork, and cool label, Checkmate. Excited to listen to that some more. Yeah, some Aaron Copland, and I've never heard of William Macelos, but look at that. It's that Odyssey label. See these all over the place, but nothing ever so clean. That's just kind of like beautiful luster held together incredibly well, and just shimmering, shining vinyl. No one ever cared about this. I love soft, subtle piano music, especially by Aaron Copland. Everyone's familiar with Stravinsky. I have lots of Stravinsky already, but I've never seen this on a really interesting, it's on the London label, but I've never seen this series. I think it's maybe intended for a quadraphonic setup. Really cool label. But yeah, super heavy, luster, thick vinyl. I think it is Stravinsky, isn't it? Petrushka. Look at this creepy doll. Oh my God. I had to have it. And I don't have a copy of Petrushka in my, right now. It's a ballet, isn't it? A Stravinsky ballet. It doesn't say on here, but the new Philharmonic Orchestra, the Liesendorf, whatever. Yeah, so fucking cool. Anyway, glad to have that in my collection. And here's an incredible one. I even looked this up on Discogs. I was like, "Ooh, this is worth money," and it's completely, wonderfully clean, on a really cool label I've never heard of. Sidewalk is what the label is called. Sidewalk Records, and this is a soundtrack to a movie with Peter Fonda that I've never seen. It's called The Trip. I'm assuming it's just some crazy like acid CIA Charlie Manson horse shit. Who knows? I'm sure it's fucking fantastic, but really cool, clean copy of it. Yeah, love it. Can't wait to listen to it. I haven't listened to it yet. It says it's by Sidewalk Records, but this is like a Orange Tower label. Interesting. I'm excited for that one. All right, moving on to some pop music. Back to some pop music. This one's a complete, blind buy, blind everything. I mean, just, I have no idea who this is or what it's about. Bugs Tomorrow. He's got some jazz hands going on, and like, I don't know what this guy's all about or what these guys are all about. I'm sure it's just some new wave, post-punk. 1983. I'm sure it's pretty run-of-the-mill, but who knows? 1980. So yeah, it's just another band ripping off the Clash, probably. But I like this fucking really cool art. So give it a try. Some bangers, guys. Some classic bangers. Clean copies. No spine. I mean, some very light spine damage, but an incredibly beautiful copy of Green River by Creedence Clearwater Revival. I love finding undamaged copies of classic, beautiful records for $3. Again, maybe a little more beat up. Some pretty serious ring wear, but whatever. That's just classic, love on the shelf. The back is a little bit beat up all along the opening edge here, but so what? This is, I'm pretty sure, an original 1967, right? It's probably 68, 67. First run on Elektra in stereo. It's not a mono. Yeah, but I mean, generally, a record in this condition at a record show would sell for probably $10, right? Pretty cool. And I like the Doors. I'll keep it around. I'll spin it quite a few times before I put it in the old sale box. This one's going in the personal collection. It will probably never go to the sale box because finding LPs by this band is becoming increasingly difficult, and I am a huge lover of this band. Pardon me while I wet my whistle. Their unique, distinct brand of eclectic, worldly folk jazz stuff from Eugene, Oregon, the band Oregon. Again, like I said, just some pretty cool, wild, eclectic jazz. What's this album called again? Winter Light. I have seen this before. I think I have it on cassette tape. But again, like I said, finding LP of these guys on the Vanguard label is becoming quite difficult, and these get expensive. But I'm keeping this in my collection because it's in fantastic condition. I love the shit out of this type of jazz. They've done stuff on the Vanguard, a couple on the Vanguard label. They've done one for Windham Hill. They've done stuff on EMI. They are incredible. Any of you jazz guys that like their jazz a little more progressive, you'll love that band. Check out Oregon. This is just too great. So glad I saw this and picked it up, and it is super clean. I've actually never seen this. You see a lot of the soundtracks, all throughout your childhood, and then you're just like, this is just everything about my childhood right here, just all lumped down into one LP. It's a Muppet Show LP that is just like I said, it's not a soundtrack to a movie. It's not to the Muppet movie. It's not, Muppets Take Manhattan. It's not whatever. It's just stuff from the show, and it's just skit after skit after skit, and songs, and just all kinds of wonderful stuff. And it has all the, you know, the players, the people that are special guests, and the producers and the puppeteers and everything. It's great. I've never seen this. I don't know. I'm sure it's really common. Huge piece of my childhood right here. The Muppet Show. Another huge piece of my childhood. I've talked about this a lot, but I've seen performances of this specific performance. I mean, old videos of it from the early '80s on YouTube before. I didn't know there was an LP that existed that actually has this performance of it. So it's that the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra does his Tubular Bells. Yeah. So Mike Oldfield, I think he conducts, doesn't know, he plays throughout the whole thing. He's always on guitar, but does he get up and conduct at some point? I don't know. Anyway, yeah, arranged by some man named David Bedford, and it's just beautiful. It's got that cool, like, it's not embossed, but the cool, like, Silver Virgin label on the back, and it's got the more retro, cool, like, 80s Virgin label. Pretty neat. Excited to find that for $3. Some more kind of just like artistic, some bold expression. And I'm sure the music is magnificent as well. I've just never seen this. I like this. I'm gonna display it in my home because I think it's gorgeous. Elektra Records, back in the late 60s, was doing these cool samplers. Look at that fucking beautiful, that art. I love it. It's a folk sampler album. You know, I just haven't even really bothered reading the back because it's just in that really boring, hard to read, reads more like stereo instructions than anything, you know what I mean? But I'm excited to get into this. So, yeah, that cool old Elektra label. Wonderful find for $3. All right, getting down to the last couple here, guys. These are my two I'm most proud of. These are actually both some of the better discoveries I've ever gotten at junk stores around here in the Willamette Valley. Things are slim pickings, especially these days. Everything is slim pickings these days, but to find shit like this in a junk store for $3, I just couldn't believe it. This one is more of a personal one for me. Everyone else won't give two shits about it, but it's a big deal to me. You know, we've talked many times on my channel. I'm a huge fan of the group, the Mannheim Steamroller, and they have that Fresh Air series that they've done, and in recent history, the I guess you could call him, you know, the godhead of, the creator of, the foundational like talent of this group, Mannheim Steamroller, is a man named Chip Davis, and he's done the thing like the Jeff Lynne thing, like he went the way of like Jeff Lynne, and it's his ELO, you know what I mean? It's his Electric Light Orchestra. And so that's the title now, Jeff Lynne, blah, blah, blah. Same as Chip Davis from the Mannheim Steamroller. So now you have to call the band, and it has to be licensed and put on the internet, whatever. It has to say Chip Davis's Mannheim Steamroller. Pretty funny, but I found a copy of, I have a bunch of the Fresh Air ones. There's like 8 or 10 of them. The ones on LP only go up to about like 5, I think. 5 or 6 maybe. On actual LP, and I have the 4th one in the series now, and then I have it signed. I have a signature by the man Chip Davis himself. To who? To Rick and Shelley. To both Rick and Shelley. Chip Davis. Pretty cool. To me, to nerds like me, I fucking love this shit. Such a great group. You guys gotta check it out. All right, I'll wrap it up. Sorry guys, this has been fun. I can't believe I found a copy of this in the wild. Totally crazy. Doesn't happen in this day and age. Does not happen. And it's really like barely beat on the spine. And at the bottom, it just has a little bit of floppy lower lip. Its lower lip is just a little bit floppy. It's okay. The rest of it is in absolutely phenomenal condition for $4. Yeah. That's an early issue, probably first or second run. 72, right? 71. 72. Gotta be probably first American pressing or second American pressing. Probably Monarch. Hard to tell. I'm not so good at that, but yeah. Anyway, I won't bore you guys staring into the dead wax, looking up my nostril. this is like, I've had almost all of their albums up through, no, only up through this one. I've just had their first 4 ever. And so now I have an original copy of it, and I'm excited about that. One of the better finds I've ever had. That's the end of my story. So you guys have been great. I was great. We talked about some really cool stuff, and I'm really proud of you. So thanks for visiting with me, and maybe next time we'll go into a little bit deeper conversation, if you're lucky.